it's Hailey, and today I'm here to talk about popular authors' debut novels. So today's video does feature a paid promotion from Disney Book Group in honor of the recent release of Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This book is described as a combination of Pretty Little Liars and Gilmore Girls, which is like, I feel like the most iconic and confusing mashup, and I can't wait to see how it's going to combine the two. So this book follows 18-year-old Sawyer, who is an auto mechanic, and she's pretty satisfied with her life as it is, apart from one thing that has always bugged her. The greatest mystery of her life is the fact that she has never known the identity of her father. So when her grandmother approaches her with this six-figure contract that's basically like, yo, if you participate in debutante season, then you'll get a bunch of money and we'll be good. She never thought she would actually accept it until she realizes that being immersed in that world and interacting with all of those different families, she might actually be able to figure out who her father is and put that mystery to rest. So she signs on the dotted line, agrees to all the makeovers and all of that stuff, the glitz and the glamour, but she realizes that she got herself into way more than she had thought, because these families are just like this tangled web of drama and mystery and intrigue and all of that stuff, and it's combined with all the glitz and the glamour, and it is just amazing. I just love the fact that this is like a mystery with a twist, because you have the typical mystery elements. It's a very intriguing page turner, but it also has a debutante story going on. Like, that just sounds so cool to me, so I cannot wait to read this. So if you're not familiar with debutantes, a debutante is basically your debut into society. So from this, I was inspired to look at some popular authors and what their debutante novels were. This list is going to be a mix of surprises, because some of them are surprising because they are like so good and became so popular right off the bat, but there's also quite a few that are surprising because I had never heard of them before. So I think this is going to be a very interesting list, so let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with the authors that their debut started them off with a bang, because they are novels that you definitely know of. They might not be their best known novel, but in a lot of the cases they are, as it is with Ransom Riggs, whose debut novel was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Obviously, Ransom Riggs started off with a bang with this novel because it was an instant success, an instant hit, and it is a very good start to his career, and so far he's only written in this universe, and I'm eager to see him do something else outside of this universe, but it was definitely a great debut. On the note of writing in the same universe all the time, next is Cassandra Clare, whose debut novel was City of Bones, which is definitely an instantaneous hit. She has written stuff outside of the universe, but only as a co-author, but she continues to write in the Shadowhunter world and has had great success doing that, so I can't blame her for milking it. But City of Bones is such a fun and engaging urban fantasy that it's crazy to me that that was her first book. Talk about like starting off with a bang, creating this whole world that then you can continue to write in for years. That is amazing. These next two authors actually only have one book out at the moment, though they both have more that are coming out in the future. One is just a standalone, the other one is a sequel, but I still wanted to talk about them because they really started their careers off like crazy. And the first one is Angie Thomas, whose debut novel is The Hate You Give. If you haven't heard of The Hate You Give by now, then welcome back to the universe. Clearly you have been living under a rock for the past year, because this book came out and everyone went wild for it, and it is for good reason. And now that it has come out as an amazing and incredible movie that you all need to go and see, it has been getting even more buzz. So like I said, Angie Thomas has another novel on the way, on the come up, which is coming out this February, I believe, but The Hate You Give was her first entrance into the publishing world, and it was such an amazing start to her career, and I can't wait to see what she's going to come out with next. The other author I was talking about is one that I haven't read her stuff yet, but I'm so eager to get to it very soon. I'm going to get to it this month. I have to do it, and that is Tomi Adeyemi, whose debut novel is Children of Blood and Bone. You have likely seen this on social media, even like Jimmy Fallon had it as his book club pick. This book has just been everywhere, all over, all sorts of media, even outside of the bookish universe, and people love it and rave about it, and I'm so excited to read it and see what all the hype is about for this book, because like I want to know. I feel like I'm missing out on a secret right now, and I'm sorry for my cat's Belle. Luna is sleeping in that chair there, and she's licking herself, and the bell just goes, and she can't help it, okay? This next author's debut novel is also one that found its way to the big screen, much like The Hate You Give, and that is Becky Albertalli's Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. This is also such an amazing movie. Like 2018, I didn't see that many bookish adaptations, but the two that I did see were absolutely fantastic, incredible. But right away, Becky Albertalli found a lot of success in the bookish community with this book. People loved it, raved about it, and it is for a good reason because once again, it is an amazing book that I really, really loved. Next is Marissa Meyer, whose debut novel was Cinder, the first book of the very iconic Lunar Chronicles series, which I think is her best known book, and then I feel like it would be Heartless and then Renegades. Maybe that's just because I haven't read Renegades yet, but Marissa Meyer really established herself as an iconic voice in the YA book community with this novel, which is a sci-fi retelling of Cinderella. She really created herself out to be this big house of retellings. She's a master of them, and I hope she's going to do more in the future because I have loved all the ones that I have read by her. Next is John Green, whose debut novel was Looking for Alaska. It's kind of crazy to me that this is his debut novel because it's one of my favorites by him. I would think more so it'd be something like An Abundance of Catherines, which isn't really my favorite, but he started off with this one, which right away he won the Prince Award. Like, that is crazy and so exciting, and definitely established himself as an important voice in the YA community. Next is Leigh Bardugo, who debuted with Shadow and Bone, the first book of the Grisha trilogy, and she's another one who created this universe that people instantly fell in love with, and she continued to write more in that universe, and I still love it so much, but she right away became a queen of fantasy, and it is for a good reason because she is absolutely incredible. Next is another powerhouse in the YA fantasy genre, and that is Sarah J. Maas, who debuted with Throne of Glass. This actually started off, I believe, on, I don't think it was Wattpad, but like she was writing it online and then they actually put it into a book, and obviously it really ended up taking off in the end, and now this series is done. Like, that's so sad. This started so long ago and now the last book has come out. If this was my debut fantasy novel, I feel like I would be set because it's really, really good. And obviously that's an opinion. This book has some varying opinions on it, but I enjoyed it apart from the issues I have with it. Next is Veronica Roth, who debuted with Divergent, which definitely once again took off right away, became a movie, all of that jazz. This is a book that would definitely be in the starter kit of really popular YA books like this, Hunger Games, Fault in Our Stars, all of that stuff, but this is the only one that would be a debut on that list, I believe. And that list just exists in my head, but I'm trying to think of, oh no, City of Bones would make its way on there also, but my point is the fallout from the Hunger Games and people really looking for more dystopian, Divergent definitely benefited from that. And finally is Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. This is another book that definitely benefited from Hunger Games and the craving for dystopian, and this one actually has new sequels that started coming out in 2018, and there's going to be, I think, one more book to the series coming out next year, but I feel like this is one of the few dystopians that has the longevity past the Hunger Games craze, and it's because it's fantastically written and I really loved it. It's not because I really loved it, that sounded conceited. I just meant it's really fantastically written and I can understand. It was like comma and I loved it. I'm just gonna stop. So now for the rest of this video, I have a list on my phone here of debuts that I had no idea existed from very popular authors. So first we have Alexandra Bracken, who is probably best known for the Darkest Minds series, and that was not her debut novel. Her debut novel was actually called Brightly Woven, and it is all about wizardry and magic and all that stuff. It is a high fantasy novel. Next is Marcus Zuzak, who is definitely best known for one of my favorite books of all time, The Book Thief, but his debut novel was called Underdogs, and it seems weird. I was like reading the synopsis and trying to figure out what was happening, but like it's very vague and it seems like it's kind of like a romancy thing, which definitely doesn't seem like it's in his realm. Very confusing, but it was the first book in a trilogy called The Wolf Brothers. Next is Laini Taylor, who is best known, I would say now, for Strange the Dreamer, but used to be really well known for, what's it called? Daughter of Shadow and Bone? I want to say like Shadow and Bone. Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I think that's what it's called. But her debut novel was called Blackbringer, and it was about fairies, and it is Fairies of Dreamdark is the series that it was. I had never seen it before, but it looks like on Goodreads she's actually coming out with a book 3 for that, so that's cool. Next is Maggie Stiefvater, who would be best known for the Raven Cycle Quartet, but her first novel was called Lament, the Fairy Queen's Deception. So obviously this is another fairy story. I don't know what it is with all of these fantasy authors, but they seem to really like to start with fairies. It's almost like they knew there would be a trend toward fairies in the future. Next is Victoria Schwab, and she debuted with a novel called The Near Witch, which is about witches. There are so many witches in that sentence. But the synopsis had a lot of dark kind of fairy tale fable sort of vibes, and I believe she's actually re-releasing this novel. I'm not 100% sure on that, but look it up because I think I saw an announcement for that, but I definitely don't know, so I'm just kind of talking. Also, Victoria Schwab is really best known for all of her novels. Vicious, The Darker Shade of Magic, is that what it's called? A Darker Shade of Magic. Also This Savage Song, but I would say those are like her top 2. Next is Julie Murphy, who is best known for Dumplin', which is coming out as a movie on Netflix, but her debut novel was Side Effects May Vary, and it is about a girl with leukemia leukemia who is trying to check all the things off of her bucket list. Next is Mackenzie Lee. She is best known for The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, but her debut novel was This Monstrous Thing, which is a steampunk Frankenstein retelling that I actually read recently, and it's right in front of me, but I really don't want to bend over and pick it up, which is so lazy, but I just exposed myself. Next is Jenny Han, who is best known for, of course, the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy, which has seen a sudden resurgence because of the amazing Netflix movie. So good. But her debut novel was actually Shug, which is a middle grade novel about a girl who's 12 and it's her summer, and yeah, it's like a typical middle grade novel. And I'm not saying that negatively, that's just fact. Next is Rainbow Rowell, who is best known for, I feel like all of her books have done well. Fangirl, what is it? Carry On, what's the other one? Eleanor and Park. My brain was leaving my head at that moment. But her debut novel was Attachments, which I owned at one point and actually unhauled, but I guess she wrote that like at work and stuff, so like that's impressive. But I think that one is actually an adult novel and it's about like people who communicate via email attachments. It sounds interesting. I just never really got into it, but that was her debut. I forgot one author for the one that's a debut that you would definitely know about, and that is J.K. Rowling. Harry Potter was her debut novel. Like, that is definitely the one that if my debut is that amazing and takes off that much, I am set for life. But that is all for today's video. Thank you so much to Disney Book Group for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to go and check out Little White Lies, which is out in the stores now, so you can pick it up. I'm very excited to read it very soon because even though I mostly read my mysteries in October, I still kind of have a hankering for them, so I will probably be getting to this sooner than I think. Dun dun dun! But if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that subscribe button and then click that bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post. I post new videos every Wednesday and Friday, but for the duration of November, I will be posting weekly NaNoWriMo vlogs every Monday. I also am part of the Bookmarked live show every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but all the information for that is down below. Also, if you haven't checked out my merch store yet, I launched merch, and I don't know if I'll have new stuff out now when this video is going up, but I did have some new stuff that I designed that I'm excited for you guys to see, so I will leave the link for that down below as well. Also, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media, all my handles, links, all that jazz will be down below. I have so much to say at the end of videos now, but I hope you guys enjoyed. That is everything, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!